call the June 25th council meeting to order. Deputy Chief Martin, would you give the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and a day of life. Praise you for the heat. It reminds us, Lord, how good we have it when it's not this hot. I ask you right now, God, to bless each and every person here tonight. Watch over them and guide them so that your will be served. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Chief Hawkins, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll.
Taylor,
Present.
Peterson,
Present.
Lease,
Present.
Heckmaster,
Present.
Edge,
Present.
Snow,
Here.
Barlow,
Here.
Cossey,
Here.
Schramm.
Here.
We'll move on to reading and consideration of minutes of the previous meetings.
I would make a motion to accept the minutes from, I guess, the January 23rd amended minutes, the June 5th minutes, June 3rd, June 11th, and June 20th.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes from January 23rd, June 3rd, June 11th, and June 20th. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the council, step to the podium, state your name and address, and try to keep it to 5 minutes, please.
I sat close so I could leave early. I can't sit in these chairs very long. I'm Joel Terry, 2219 Allison Street. When going over the agenda for tonight's meeting, I was astonished that the city is wanting to put in a stoplight at Garrison and HH. One question: why? If it is to relieve some school traffic, does that mean it will operate between 7 and 8 a.m. and 3 to 4 p.m. and the rest of the time just flash yellow and red? Side note, the 2 lights on River would be a vast improvement with that schedule. Government should not spend money on silly whims that aren't necessities. I don't view this as a necessity. In my opinion, this light is completely unnecessary, again, in my opinion. We have 3 bridges that are closed now that obviously the railroad is responsible for. Obviously, they're not going to do anything about it. We have 3 bridges that are soon going to be closed. Railroad's not responsible for those, city is. We need to save some money, folks. And spending $250,000 on stoplights that are unnecessary is not the way to do it. In my opinion. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks, Joel.
Hello. My name is Tina Hallmark. I'm at 1708 Connor Drive. First, this has nothing to do with what I'm going to be talking about, but thank you for redoing our roads out there. Like, we appreciate it. So, I did not know. I noticed that minutes were not available for the zoning committee meeting that we had this last Thursday. I presented at it. There were a couple of council members that were there, and things got a little out of hand. I was yelled at as I was giving a presentation. So I just wanted to let you guys know exactly what the zoning committee turned down. So myself as an investor, my husband and our builder purchased the property between Windy Lane, it's 7.4 acres, between Windy Lane and Gene Taylor. This is what I presented, and I even printed off, so this was gonna be our first build. So it's 1,500 square feet. They're going to be townhomes. Someone in the neighborhood decided to say and spread false news that we were building apartments. We are looking, this is our dream. We wanted to bring housing into Carthage. We would have been able to put up 60 of these, 60 new homes for Carthage. And it got denied, so that counts off of less taxes, less revenue to be spent here in Carthage. Right now, there are 45 homes listed in Carthage between the amount of $20,000 to $6 million. So, because we got a lot of pushback, we all decided that this property, we would voluntarily put restrictions on our own land. And we're like, okay, we'll put restrictions. It can be documented, chartered, everything else, you guys would approve it. We would not allow any apartments to be built on this land, only townhomes. Only townhomes. So what we were wanting to do, and I still got pushback, and that's fine because everyone is entitled to their opinion. But what I would like to say is that what we plan on building is not going to lower anyone's property value. You guys would like to see what we came up with? These would have been the townhomes that would have been on the land, 7.4 acres, just so you guys can see. 2-story townhomes. This would have been our first building. It would have started between 250 and 260, 250, 260,000. After that, we would progress. This is how our units would look. The more expensive units would have detached garages, obviously increased in square footage. They would be running around $300,000 to $350,000. So we're talking about luxury townhomes. I brought up the fact that if you've been to Rogers or Bentonville or any place that is trying to grow and trying to sustain their, increased volume of residents, like this is up and coming. So all I wanted to do was go on record that this was denied, 3-2 vote. I don't understand why, unless the people who were in the audience, persuaded other people to vote no. But this is what we have dreamed about doing. So I just want to make sure, since I did not see the minutes out, that you guys would know exactly what we are presenting. And if you have questions, I'll stay here if you do have questions.
We can take questions from the audience.
Well, first I'm going to address them. You guys? Good? Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to mention is this would have been 60 to 64. We have already talked to another architect. I wasn't planning on mentioning this, but you're looking at more than halving what we can put in there with homes. So all I'm saying is that I wanted to give you all a heads up. I don't know how you would like to address the plan and zoning, if you would like for us to come back again, but this is something that we wanted to go from zone A to C. I am sorry that apartments are in zone C, but that's how it's written. If they could come up with another zone, that would be fantastic, and you just put townhomes in there. But we are willing to put restrictions on our own land that we own and make sure that everyone knows exactly what they're getting for the town of Carthage.
Tina, did they ask you for another plat to come back? Are you going to address that again?
Well, when we talked to Jim during the meeting, we told him that the only difference would be if we decide to put the parking on the sides. potentially because of the live spring well
Yes.
that's there, potentially building that up and putting in a dog park. But the only other thing would be like fire hydrants and where the the mailboxes would go.
Okay,
So it wouldn't have been worth the money
okay.
to come back, but we would come back. So,
I didn't know if it was already a decision made that you weren't going to do the other plat or make a few changes. I
no,
thought
because
that
there's
was-
only like 3 changes that would have been made.
Okay,
I would have loved to have had it been tabled so they could have like actually talked about it and discussed, but
okay,
anyways,
thank you.
yes, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Your Honor, Ms. Cox, Ms. Dill, members of the council. My name is TJ Teed, 615 Airport Drive. With Independence Day being next week, I wanted to start tonight by thanking and honoring all the men and women in uniform who have served our city, our county, and our great nation. From our amazing police and fire departments to all of our military members here at home and around the world. We say thank you for your sacrifice and for protecting us each and every day. Thank you guys very much. Your Honor, I rise today to discuss issues within this governing body and the division it has caused in our city. Ms. Cossey, in a post you made yesterday on Facebook, you spoke of a hate page that spreads malicious lies and gossip, that this group has targeted and threatened citizens and deterred them from attending meetings. You also stated that anyone who is intimidated, bullied, or threatened should file a report. So let's go there. Let's discuss who's really being bullied and spreading hate across Carthage. Per your post on Facebook, are you saying that I should file a report against Ms. Schramm for how she approached me and harassed me, which was caught on camera during an interview? Should Mr. Hurlbut file a report for the way Ms. Schramm and you spoke of a deceased daughter of Mr. Hurlbut and the threatening demeanor of letting his disapproval of your actions slide for now? Should the many teachers in Carthage file reports of harassment that certain school board members and previous school board members who were also part of the CCU have made toward them? There are so many city employees who have been threatened by sitting members of this council. Should they start filing a report against each of you council members? Ms. Cossey, you speak of a hate page calling those who oppose you as bullies. You put everyone down who walks opposite of you. You have personally bullied Mr. Taylor, Ms. Lease, Mayor Rife, Mr. Hawkins, John Hacker, Nate Daly, and all city employees. And the list continues to go on. There are so many people who are scared of retaliation if they speak out against you or the CCU or any of the 7. But for me, I don't scratch my head unless it itches, and I don't dance unless I hear music. I will not be intimidated, and I will not live my life in fear for speaking the truth. Ms. Cossey, you are the problem, not the solution. It's unfortunate that you and a few other council members speak about our city being in crisis. However, that is far from the truth. Our city departments are fully staffed, minus Greg. So how are we in crisis? The only crisis I see is that this council is being ran by a disastrous 7. Carthage is an amazing town with a rich history, but I'm saddened that 7 of you want to destroy this town. You are dividing a community that should work as one. No, we will never agree with each other on every issue, but we move on and we do life together. Unfortunately, you all seem so vain and caught up in your own personal agendas to see and hear the majority of the community speaking out against your actions. But I guess since none of you are willing to listen, and you're not willing to listen before now, we're just going to let the citizens speak their voices loud and clear in November. Thank you, Your Honor. I'll yield the floor to the next citizen.
Jeff Hallmark, 1708 Connor Drive here in Carthage. Just kind of piggybacking on what my wife mentioned on the project earlier. Just so you're aware, that was a $20 million project for our city that was completely nixed. When you talked about money for stoplights and things, tax money can be generated off that quite a bit, just in property taxes, which would be a ton, but let alone 60 plus families coming into the community to do that. As well as there was a particular gentleman that sent out a petition throughout that neighborhood knocking. Kudos to him, he did a great job of getting people on his agenda. Did a wonderful job of that. Unfortunately, it wasn't real information. It was sent out as apartments. It's not apartments, it's townhomes that would be for sale, as you mentioned. Several people have contacted us afterwards saying if they had known what it was, they would have never signed that petition. Apparently there was 80 people. Just want to kind of clarify that, but once again, a $20 million project to the city of Carthage, thrown away. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
We can take questions from the audience. I know your wife.
It's not the time, Joel. Thank you, though.
Mayor Reif, members of the City Council, and Carthage citizens. I step to the podium this evening to pay tribute to my lifelong friend, Steve Beimdick. I first met Steve as a young boy when my family moved to his street in 1947. We were acolytes together in church, went to summer camp together, and attended high school together for 2 years. He was a little older. I suppose that is when I began to consider Steve as my hero, a term which I used his entire life. He played football, basketball, and tennis in high school. He was a big guy and larger than life to me. I don't suppose many folks remember that he was one of only 14 players in the state of Missouri who were mentioned as part of the prep All-America football team after his senior year in high school. Steve played tackle and fullback. At Mizzou, Steve was president of his fraternity, participated in ROTC, and after serving as first lieutenant in the U.S. Army, returned to Mizzou to get his law degree. After college, we both returned to Carthage about the same time, going to work in our respective family businesses, and began working in civic affairs for the betterment of Carthage. I remember encouraging him to run for city council sometime in the 1970s, when I was Republican city chairman. For over 40 years, we hunted turkey and pheasant together. Our bond was strong. Among other activities, I had the pleasure of serving on the CWNEP board with Steve in the 1990s. I left that position to serve a term on the city council, but as you know, Steve continued to serve faithfully on that board for 30 years. And a number of folks will tell you what a valuable member he was. Steve was legendary in his service to Carthage and CWNEP, and strongly believed in the importance of institutional knowledge with regard to organizational stability. Steve was devastated by the action of the mayor and the former city council a year ago when they attempted to fire the entire CWNEP board of directors. Steve was very aware of the importance of institutional knowledge, as CWNEP was and is going through a critical time in the history of the organization as they are faced with choosing a new partner to be the major electricity supplier for Carthage. Last fall, the mayor replaced 2 long-standing members of the CWNEP board, and now with Steve's passing, the longest-serving member is gone. In tribute to Steve, I ask consideration of the mayor and the council. Mayor Reif, in order to restore some of the lost institutional knowledge to the CWNEP board, I ask you to reappoint either Danny Lambeth or Pat Goff to fill out the last year of Steve's term. As a former member of that board, I know firsthand that it takes a year or two to get up to speed just to become an effective member. With 2 new members just learning the ropes, I feel it is in the best interest of Carthage to fill the remainder of Steve's term with a knowledgeable, experienced board member. And to the council, I ask this: if the mayor appoints anyone other than Danny Lambeth or Pat Goff, remember that you have veto power. Just say no. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Scott. I live at 5305 County Road 175 in Carthage. So I was not planning on speaking tonight, so I don't have anything scripted out here. But as we heard from different people, and I know TJ and other people, so what I want to tell all the council members, I ran for school board, on the school board. There's times that people will not agree with your decision 100%. And you may get grief on social media or whatever, but I do appreciate you guys taking the time and effort in doing what you're doing, serving your city to the best of your ability. I get you're not gonna please everybody. There's probably decisions that I would say to you, I probably maybe disagree with the 7 as they say, but I believe you're doing the best you can. Lori, Chris, I may not agree with everything, but I'm glad you guys are voting your conviction, how you're doing it for the folks that you feel like voted you in. So this is part of democracy, and anyway, I get we need to move on. I hope we do move on, but I do appreciate every single one of you, even if I don't agree with everything. And also, Tina Hallmark, Jeff Hallmark, they're not paying me to say this or anything. I had no idea they were going to come speak. But those are type of projects that we need more housing in Carthage. So I hope there is some way. I have no idea why it got denied. Don't know anything about it. But we do need more housing. So hopefully there's a path that can appease both the city and people that want to invest in Carthage. Thank you.
Evening, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Good.
For a little while. You know, I agree this city's going through some turmoils right now. And continue to watch it online, because I really don't like to get involved in controversy. Gets pretty hard on an old man. But I can't stand by and see people being continuously persecuted one way or the other. I got a list of people on my phone, and a lot of them are even previous council members who are in support of what this council is trying to do. Who's right or who's wrong? I don't know. That'll come out in the ultimate of this procedures and the procedures to follow. But I am here to tell you that I voted for Jana. I voted for Tiffany Cosney, and I got a lot of people on my phone that also voted for her. We continue to support them along with the rest of the council members. I pray that we can get through all this and get it over with. Those bridges, belong to the railroad. We've been problems with that for a long time. Even Kenny Johnson couldn't get anything done on there because you can't get cooperation from the railroad. There's some other bridges that need some work. They'd like to smooth out Wee Bridge. But there's too many mothers that love going over that Wee Bridge with their kids. And fathers and grandfathers. Those are hard problems that need to be solved. But first we have to get past first base, then second base, and on around the ball field. I pray that we can get past this politics. And I've heard people get up here and quote stuff from the Bible. I can quote it too. I study mine every morning, every night. We just need to quit throwing some rocks, get done with the city business, find out what's going to happen with you, Mayor, and get on to some of those projects that need to be dealt with. Your budget hasn't been approved yet, has it? That's something that's important. Kenny Johnson wanted to beat me up one time because I was holding up his budget. But it has to be passed by a certain time. I don't know, when's the deadline, Mayor?
We're gonna work on that here in just a little bit.
Okay, those are important things. So let's get together, do what we gotta do, and get it done. I watched that whole Sunshine Law deal. I heard a lot of people griping about the Sunshine Law, but after the lawyer got done briefing you all, I didn't see too many sunshine violations based on his input. Mayor, do they still not have the big training for the council members in Jeff City or San Luis or up at the lake anymore?
They do the annual
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. Yep.
That is a very important session for all you council members. The ones that's been to it before, you know what it's about. The ones that haven't, there's some training there besides the Sunshine Law that is very important. And it'll teach you how to be a better council member. And then you also get some dances, and you get some wine and dining, tours of different places. If you're in Kansas City, they do the tour of the city and all the musicals up there. It's awesome. So there is some little benefits that you get to go to. Of course, maybe not every council member can get off to go to it because of the work schedules. But if you can go to it, it's well worth your time and money. That's something that I believe the city should make sure that the council members go to and see. And maybe it'll open everybody's eyes widely. And then continue the hard work you're doing. And I pray that we can get these things done without any more hardballing on church parking lots and Walmart parking lots and people's flower shops and what have you. To me, it's a crying shame, some of the things that are happening.
I agree.
And I just wish you all the best of luck. I want to turn around and go out of here and get back to my easy chair. But when I was sitting there listening to some of the things, it breaks my heart. Wish you all the best of luck. Do your job that you feel is necessary to do. And what happens, happens, but let's get the city back on schedule. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks,
I'm
Ron.
Ron Wells from Ward 5, 2026 South Maple, Carthage, Missouri.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ron.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. I didn't plan on saying anything tonight, but I just want to say hello to all the amazing people of Carthage, every single person in here. Everyone here, oh, and by the way, I'm Kathleen McCaffrey, and I honestly don't know my address. It's the professional building I rent 5 offices from, and I was over the olive oil company at, what did you do, 630 Lane? When I was above the olive oil company, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not a resident officially here, but I've been here for over a year. Some of you may remember I came up and spoke about King Solomon and different things like that. And usually people say to me, why do you care? Why do you care about this town? I've met so many amazing people here. Every single person I've met on both sides, after I came up and spoke, I scheduled 2 meetings with the mayor. Mayor, I apologize for not being at the last meeting. I've had some thyroid issues and I've been in and out of the hospital in Atlanta and here. I'm doing better though. Anyway, I'm not caught up on anything here, but I would like to mention something that happened while I was at the professional building. I ran into a really cool person here, Mr. Putnam. Hi there. I've been writing, so I write a lot in the middle of the night, and I was in my house clothes, and I think I was in the room where I could borrow some chairs, and we had a nice conversation. And I learned that yourself, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Putnam, that your children grew up together, and Mr. Putnam called you Danny, which is cool. And we talked about that in the meeting, right? And we also established some camaraderie. I'm 2 weeks older than the mayor, although he has seniority in this town over me. But we had a really cool conversation about the class of '82 and things like that. So I enjoyed that. And all of the bad things that I heard after I met you, I'm like, well, and just like Mr. Putnam said, Danny's a great guy. He's a good guy. And I think everybody in here is a great person. I grew up in New York City where there's like tons of anonymity. I'm a resident of Los Angeles. And again, I call this my silver town. In some ways it's like high school, but it's serious. We're all we're grown adults. So maybe, and again, I'm not caught up on everything, but maybe if a member of instead of the law or lawyer or the governor or whoever is involved in this, maybe if the clergy came together and everybody got together in a way, together in Christ, because we sit here and we say, in God we trust, and the Pledge of Allegiance, excuse me, I need some water, the Pledge of Allegiance, and we mention God. And I went to a funeral a few days ago for Steve Bimdick. And again, I saw amazing people. And Lori here, when I was at Mercy, treated me to lunch. And these are, again, opposing side that I don't know who's on what side. I don't know who to talk, what to say. And I sometimes I'm like, am I going to talk to the wrong person? But I've never met a city with really the coolest people. I mean, sometimes I get frustrated with some things, but every single one of you are smart, you're passionate, you care about this town, and I continue to pray too, and I really don't even know what to say other than I really enjoyed our meetings, Mr. Mayor, and you're different in one-on-one, and I didn't know you before, and it was really refreshing, and you're cool. And so I wish that we could all see each other like I see you, maybe. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. And all the stuff that's happened, all the hurt that's here, and people that got fired, or whatever happened. Again, I don't even know all the real details, but all that stuff is to heal. I guess it's all about healing. And I thank you. I'm not going to use all the time. And I love it here. And You have a great mayor, and you have a great council, and you have a great fire department, police department, and parks department, everybody here in hospital. And don't forget that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
All right, we'll move on to report of standing committees. Budget, Ways and Means, Chairman Snow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Budget Ways and Means Committee met last night, and we have a budget on the agenda for tonight. Council Bill 2430 is the 24-25 budget. Some of the highlights of the budget: the total budget is nearly $28 million. That's all funds. Just the general fund is nearly $18 million. For those who aren't aware, the general fund is where most of our city salaries come from. Most of the services that you get, if they're not specific, fire department has their own fund, parks has some fund that they have projects out of, street department has funds that they have some projects out of, but the general fund, for the most part, pays for our people that service here in the city. So tonight on the agenda, like I said, we'll see Council Bill 2430, which is our budget that Mr. Wells, I'm not sure if he left or not, it has to be passed by June 30th so that we can start our new fiscal year July 1st. Also on the agenda tonight, we have Council Bill 2429, which is Carthage Water and Electric Plant rate increase. We have Resolution 2044, which is a supplemental budget adjustment to a couple of funds. The golf fund, the public civic enhancement fund for a couple of different projects or different things that they needed to adjust the current budget for. Our next meeting, in our meeting last night, we also found out that our sales tax, our revenues are down again this month, under projected, and our use tax is higher than budgeted. So as we see those going through the next year, we're expecting probably that same trend to continue on. Our next meeting is going to be July 8th at 5:30 here in council chambers. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims, Chairperson Cossie.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims met this evening in council chambers at 5:30. We approved claims in the amount of $689,881, and we'll be forwarding those on to the council. Nothing really of note. We had some staff reports and updates, but nothing of note to mention. And our next meeting will be here in council chambers on July 9th at 5:30.
All right, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairperson Heckmeister.
Your Honor, the Public Safety Committee met Monday, June 17th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. here in council chambers. Nancy Corley from Carthage Humane Society spoke with the committee regarding spay-neuter pricing compared to other surrounding area fees. The committee tabled this discussion until the July meeting, where the committee can look over the animal ordinance. Sergeant Roy Teed from Jasper County Sheriff's Department spoke on behalf of Sheriff Kaiser regarding the Shop with a Deputy fundraiser. The request was to close the south and east, that would be the 4th Street and Grant sides of the square, and allow for food trucks on October 5th, 2024 from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. For the Shop with the Deputy fundraiser, I move to close the south and east, 4th Street and Grant sides of the square and allow for food trucks on October 5th, 2024 from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to allow closing of the south and east side of the squares on October the 5th between 5:30 and 9, and to allow food trucks for the Sheriff's Department Shop with the Sheriff program. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Carthage Chamber of Commerce President Julie Reams requested the closure of Richard Webster Drive from Oak Street to the skating rink, Rock Stadium, on July 4th from 8 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. for the Red, White, and Boom event. I move to close Richard Webster Drive from Oak Street to the skating rink / Rock Stadium on July 4th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for the Red, White, and Boom July 4th celebration.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to close Richard Webster Drive from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the 4th for Red, White, and Boom. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
A request for, excuse me, we also considered a special request by Roxanne Willard of Jasper County Youth Fair. This year's fair will be held in Municipal Park this July. Requests presented in our meeting occur from Monday, July 8th through Sunday, July 14th. A request is for exhibitor families to be allowed to bring campers into the park from Saturday, July 6th through Sunday, July 14th. Children exhibiting during the fair are also requesting special permission to be in the park around the livestock area after 10 o'clock p.m. to share for livestock and provide security of exhibits. Also, it was requested that food trucks be allowed between the Copen concession stand and Small Pavilion number 8, Monday, July 8th through Saturday, July 13th. There were 2 road closure requests as follows. The first road closure request is to keep livestock contained within the perimeter fence and provide safety for exhibitors and spectators. To accomplish this, the road between barns number 7 and Chitwood barn number 6 from gate to gate will be closed from Wednesday, July 10th through Saturday, July 13th. The second road request is to close the road between Copeland concession stand and the Small Pavilion number 8 from Wednesday, July 10th to Saturday, July 13th. I move to allow campers in the park on Saturday, July 6th through Sunday, July 14th for the exhibitor families. To allow the children exhibiting during the fair special permission to be in the park around the livestock area after 10 p.m. to care for livestock and provide security of exhibits. To allow food trucks between the Copen concession stand and Small Pavilion number 8 from Monday, July 8th through Saturday, July 13th. To close the road between barn number 7 and Chitwood barn number 6 from gate to gate from Wednesday, July 10th through Saturday, July 13th. And to close the road between the Copen concession stand and the Small Pavilion number 8 from Wednesday, July 10th to Saturday, July 13th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. And I quit writing. I'm gonna say we've got a motion and a second for conditions, closures, and permissions for the Jasper County Youth Fair between the 5th or the 6th and the 14th.
The dates for the Monday, July 8th through Sunday, July 14th, that encompasses all of that.
Okay, all righty. Any discussion on that? We'll have the whole thing in the minutes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, during that meeting, I asked Mr. Taylor, since he is the chair of the Public Services Committee, to talk with the Public Services Committee about possibly naming those roads at the fairgrounds. Every year we go through the road between this pavilion and that pavilion. And I suggested that maybe they work with the fair board and possibly name those roads in honor of a fair contributor or someone who has put a lot of time in with the fair. So hopefully next year we can close a street with a name during the fair.
And
So,
Mr. Mayor, to let you know, that is in a written proposal I'm working on now for the next public safety meeting.
All right, very cool.
thank you, Mr.
It
Taylor.
will be done.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, the committee considered a street closure for the annual Bel Air Place Parade Block Party. Lana Griffith requested barricades at Clinton, Fulton, and Grand and Bel Air closed from Grand to the end of the cul-de-sac on Sunday, June 30th, from 5:45 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. for the parade block party. I move to barricade Clinton, Fulton, and Grand and close Bel Air from Grand to the end of the cul-de-sac on Sunday, June 30th, from 5:45 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. for the Bel Air Place parade block party.
I second.
All right, I've got closures for the Bel Air Parade again every year. So closing Clinton, Fulton, and Grand.
Clinton,
two-
Fulton,
two-
and
two
Grand
yeah.
at Bel Air.
At
and
Bel
Bel
Air,
Air.
yep. All right. And that's on the 30th?
That is on June 30th,
All right.
correct?
Any discussion?
What about the gas company? Do you know if they'll be on that street at that time? I think they're on Euclid right now.
I do not know.
Okay, hopefully that won't
Hope not.
have a conflict with
I
that.
do not, okay.
All right. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Carthage Economic Development CEO Jeff Meredith spoke briefly on the excessive force policy as a requirement for the downtown sidewalk grant. This resolution establishes regulations regarding the use of excessive force during nonviolent civil rights demonstrations, including physically barring access to a facility or location which is the subject of such demonstration, and providing penalties for violations thereof in the city of Carthage. Police Chief Hawkins stated that this required resolution will not impact police protocol as this pertains only to nonviolent civil rights demonstrations. This resolution is numbered 2043 on tonight's agenda. Acting City Administrator Tracy Cox updated the committee on the job applications for fire chief. Chief Hopkins provided a station update, and Chief Deputy Martin shared information regarding a new brush truck. The next scheduled meeting of the Public Safety Committee will begin at 5:30 p.m. Monday, July 15th, here in council chambers.
All right, thank you. Public Services Committee, Chairman Edge.
Did we accepted a bid for that brush? Did we not accept a bid for the brush truck that we need to have a motion to accept here?
We did that in the meeting?
Yeah, the brush truck bid that we accepted. It was the very last page of our packet for public safety.
I apologize, I missed that. Do you know where it is here?
Yeah. This one right here. And we accepted.
Okay, we accepted this bid. Thank you, Alan. So we accepted the bid for the brush truck. And the company that we went with was THL Fire Equipment. It was the best bid for various reasons, including the fact that had we accepted the next lower bid, we would have had to have taken the brush truck that we have, or part of it, and taken it to Indiana. So when that was factored in, along with some additional equipment, it was actually the best for the city to go with the higher bid. The grand total of that bid was $22,648. So at this time, I would move that we approve the THL Fire Equipment expenditure for the brush truck of $22,648.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the bid on a brush truck from THL Fire Equipment for $22,648. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's okay. I was just gonna have Mr. Martin, Deputy Chief Martin, give us a little bit of the detail, but he gave us the detail at our meeting, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, Mr. Edge.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Services Committee met in council chambers on June 18th at 5:30 p.m. We discussed two budget adjustments for the Civic Enhancement Fund and the Golf Fund. These are both included in the agenda this evening as Resolution 2044, as Mr. Snow mentioned. Our next meeting is scheduled for 5:30 PM on July 16th here in council chambers.
All right, thank you. Public Works, Chairman Taylor.
We had a special meeting of Public Works on the 17th, and we discussed several things. Two things are on the agenda for this evening. It's Council Bill 2431 and Council Bill 2432. And we will have our regular scheduled meeting the first Monday of July, 5:30 in council chambers.
All right, thank you.
Is it Tuesday?
Yes, first Tuesday.
The first Tuesday then.
All right, thank you. Move on to report of special committees and board liaisons. Mr. Edge.
Vision Carthage met on June 19th at the Carthage Water and Electric Community Room. We discussed several topics, including economic vitality and finance. The Carthage in Bloom Garden Tour had a net profit of $4,000. The Carthage Bloom Awards will be awarded by the end of the month. And has that been done yet?
No.
Okay.
It's in progress.
Okay, thank you. The next upcoming event is the Summer Sidewalk Sale, which is scheduled for July 27th. And then also today, a tree fund was launched to restock trees in the parks, and you can make donations at visioncarthage.org/tree fund. Did I get that right? Okay, perfect. Our next meeting is scheduled for 7:30 a.m. at the Carthage Water and Electric Community Room on July 17th.
All right, thank you. Ms. Heckmaster.
The Planning, Zoning, and Historic Preservation Commission met at 5:30 PM Thursday, June 20th here in City Hall. Tina and Jeff Hallmark have both already spoken about their desired addition. I would just share that our community is in somewhat desperate need of additional housing. And it's my hope that Tina and Jeff will create a proposal that will be accepted by the commission. New homes in city limits not only add property tax revenue, but also residents are prone to shop in Carthage and contributing to sales tax revenue. Tracy Cox has mentioned several times the need to generate more sales tax throughout my tenure on council. So I'm hopeful that something can be created that will be amenable to all. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Bill Barksdale, who turned in his resignation effective after the meeting on June 20th. Bill has served on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Records indicate that he served since 2015, so that's a long time, and we owe him our thanks. Due to a conflict in schedules, the commission decided to adjust the meeting date for the months of August, September, and October to the first Thursday of the month. The July meeting will tentatively be moved to 5:30 p.m. Thursday, July 18th, here in council chambers.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Lee.
I want to thank Carthage Water and Electric for making me feel welcome. It was my first time to go to one of their meetings, and I have so much to learn. The main things they did a consideration of the compensation study that they had been working on at the request, I believe, of council in the past. They did adopt or approve the compensation study plan for the positions. Then they also did consideration of performance management. So going forward in the future, the company Bryant noted that they're seeking qualified services, but I believe they're going to do that performance management through the same people that did our compensation study. Am I right on that? I hope.
Yes, it's locked in.
Locked in, okay. And so that's good, and what that is they'll evaluate the performance of coworkers and decide what level they'll go in on as salary ranges and things. Then they took considerations for bids on a RICE monitoring system. I had to ask tonight again what that was. It's a reciprocating, right, internal combustion engine. So basically it's used to upgrade the emissions monitoring systems. It'll be on engine 11, 12, 13, and 14 for the new fiscal year. They have to have this done before September. So they did award the project to Farabee Mechanical in the amount of $73,727.66, and it was passed. They also did a proposal for USIC locating services, whom they've worked with for many years and have given quality service in locating highly skilled contractors to provide utility locating and marketing services on behalf of CWEP in Carthage. And that was also approved. And then the next thing I wanted to say was also I appreciated the tribute that they gave to Mr. Bimedek. I was actually shocked at that meeting because I hadn't heard until the meeting. And he's touched a lot of other lives besides working 30 years. 30 years he gave to the Carthage Water and Electric Board, but he touched other lives, some that people probably don't even know. When they were young teenagers, I had a man come to me this week and say he was a teenager and he was from a very poor family here in town, didn't have anything, and Steve gave him an airplane ride one time. He said he'll never forget that. So I thought that was really neat. They did go ahead and recommend the slate of officers for the upcoming year. So for the upcoming fiscal year, it will be President Ron Ross, Vice President Darren Collier, and Secretary Brian Schmidt. And then they gave some miscellaneous staff reports and things too, but that was the gist. And I'm not sure when the next meeting is because this one we had changed a couple times, and so will it be the third? Yeah,
Thursday.
And it will be posted too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Move on to Mayor's report. We did meet last Thursday with the Humane Society and some council members to kind of discuss their situation and their issues. Also did more discussing about the budget, and we all did the same sunshine training last Thursday as well. So we'll move on to reports from council members. Start on this side this time.
Nothing
Mr.
tonight,
Taylor.
Your Honor.
Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep it brief. As you just referenced, we had our sunshine training, which I thought was extremely informative. And it kind of got my wheels spinning when we start to think about open records, and largely in today's day that relies on email communication. With our current vacancies in city administrator, city attorney, fire chief, etc., those email accounts that receive correspondence are those, I presume, forwarded to another individual within the city, or I guess in other words, those email addresses are cut off from those vacant persons who left.
Right.
Yeah, Chief O'Neill updated all of his contacts to me, and after the chief's chosen that person.
Sure.
Got access, but the day, the 21st, right, was his last day, and his email account was closed for that night.
Sure. Understood.
Emails are reassigned. It automatically. We store all.
Gotcha. Right. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Lee.
I didn't mention the Humane Society. There are going to be some fundraising efforts on their part coming up. And so look for those opportunities to volunteer if you would like to. We'll share more about the fundraisers as we go forward. And nothing else, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Heckmaster.
I would just like to thank Tracy Cox. Tracy is really doing two jobs right now. She's working very hard with a lot of extra hours. Thank you, Tracy.
Yes.
Mr. Edge.
Nothing additional tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Snow.
I would also like to thank Tracy and city staff on the budget. Obviously, we try to get the budget done to where we don't have to do an emergency council bill like we are tonight, but due to some unforeseen issues, we have it on the agenda tonight. So when we do get to those, those are emergency ordinance that we will be moving to second reading. But the budgeting process this year, I think the department heads did a great job when we had revenue shortfall. The department heads went in and made changes to their departments that really have made getting a budget where our revenues are at least near our expenses. So I want to thank all the city staff for that. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bartley.
Nothing.
Ms. Cossey.
Yes, just a couple of things. I would also like to thank Tracy. In the short time that she's been in this role, she's been very responsive to requests for information and extremely helpful. And so I want to say how much I appreciate working with you. Also, I would like to echo the sentiments that have been put out about Mr. Beimdick. I was very sorry to hear of his passing. I've only known him for a very short time, but he was incredibly kind, incredibly supportive, and he will definitely be missed.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Shrimp.
Well, now it just seems redundant. Thank you, Tracy, so much for being responsive and taking over the role that you have. It's very much appreciated. And also for Steve Beimdick, he was so supportive of this community. It's a big loss to us. He was a wonderful man to me and a neighbor. And thank you for having the Sunshine Law training. It gave us an opportunity to ask a lot of questions in front of everyone. So it was cleared up for a lot of people, and that was appreciated. That's it. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. We'll move on to administrative reports. Chief Hawkins.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Deputy Chief Martin.
I would like to say we had the Safe Haven baby box is installed in Station 2. It's not up and running yet. It's still in test phase. As far as the Missouri Disaster Assistance Grant, we applied for $176,716, of which we would possibly be eligible 50% of that, which is $88,358 if the governor chooses or the commission chooses to grant us that. That would cover the overtime, the dump trucks, the backhoes, some of the expenses incurred by the city during that. And I'll just touch on the brush truck. The reason we chose to submit the bid we did, we had two that were close, but one included all the lights and sirens, and them coming and getting the truck, taking it to Indiana and they're taking our tank off of the old truck because we're going to repurpose it into the new truck, the water tank and pump. But the other company was only $3,000 less, and the light package is worth $6,500. So we thought that it was a little more, but they didn't offer the lights and the install the same way. And I talked to Terry earlier. I didn't realize I had to bring that up, but she had asked me to speak about the truck some more. If anybody has any questions, I've got a bunch of information here on them with diagrams and designs. So that's all.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Almendinger.
Good evening, Your Honor. Thank you. Little League is winding down. We had 166 kiddos participating with 14 teams total, 4 minor teams, 6 major, and 4 senior teams. We were asked to host the 9 and under tournament, All-Stars tournament, and 10 and under All-Stars tournament. So that'll start next week that we're preparing for. As Mr. Edge mentioned, Vision Carthage launched their tree fund. So if you're interested in assisting us with replanting trees in the park system, you can go on to visioncarthage.org/tree fund to contribute to that. We're doing it in a bulk fashion so we can get wholesale pricing. So no individual trees are accepted, but we're just collecting donations right now, monetary donations, and then we'll be planting them in the fall. And then we are also working with the chamber to prepare for the 4th of July event next week. So I hope everyone will come out and enjoy the activities. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Cox.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to mention that the new city attorney, John Gold, had planned on attending the meeting tonight, but unfortunately he had a scheduling conflict, so he will be at our first meeting in July. I also want to say that our City Wellness Committee is partnering with the Community Blood Center tomorrow to host a blood drive that will be held at Memorial Hall from 11 to 4. So we encourage everyone to attend that if you'd like. And I do also want to thank the staff for their hard work on the budget, and it's not easy to give up some of your wants and needs for other projects, but they always have worked so well together and should be commended for their efforts on the budget. So the budget will be presented for consideration this evening as an emergency, and our budget process for the most part is complete. However, our budget book is not. That will staff will receive training on Wednesday to learn how to prepare the budget book. That will be posted on our city website. It will include more information than what we normally have in our budget book. So we look forward to preparing that and getting that presented to the community as well. And that's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Move on to report of the claims against the city.
The Committee on Claims filed a report in the amount of $689,881.52.
I move that we accept the claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the claims and accept the report and allow the claims. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to public hearing.
The City of Carthage will hold a public hearing for approval of the City of Carthage budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, Tuesday, June 25th at 6:30 during the City Council meeting.
Does anyone wish to speak or comment about the budget? All right, we'll move on. There was no old business. We'll move on to new business.
The first reading of Council Bill 2428, an emergency ordinance of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Carthage, Missouri and Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for a temporary COW Colt cell tower for Marion Days 2024 held in Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion?
I move we forward Council Bill 2428 to second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2428 to the second reading. Any discussion?
I'm not sure on this one why it was an emergency. Could you explain to everyone the emergency status of this?
It needs to be passed so it can get sent back to Verizon for them to accept and get everything signed. Marion Days is first weekend in August, so.
So is this the same company we use each year for this?
It is the same company. We are just getting everything in writing.
Is this,
This is the first time that we've done an agreement, a formal agreement.
An actual agreement.
and it's an emergency because we are late getting it read to the council?
We haven't had an attorney to get it to you.
Okay,
guys.
I just wanted everybody to know why it was an emergency.
Yes, they need to get it back for Verizon to accept and get everything in place for that first weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Also, if I can add, on a side note, is this the first year, someone mention that they are paying us to put the tower up this time? Or was that a different?
Yes. So, yes.
Yes, so.
First year for a formal agreement and that, yep. Okay. All right, so I've got a motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second reading of Council Bill 2428, an emergency ordinance of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Carthage, Missouri and Cellco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, for a temporary COW Colt cell tower for Marion Days 2024 held in Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your vote.
Yours not proper?
Correct, but I'm in favor.
Yes.
Council bill passes.
The first reading of Council Bill 2429, an emergency ordinance authorizing utility rate changes for electric, water, and wastewater services as requested by the Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board.
Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
Your Honor, I move that we forward Council Bill 2429 to second reading.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2429 to second reading. Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
So, Your Honor, I'd just like to clarify that the emergency ordinances that we have on our agenda tonight, we have to have the word, or the ordinance has to have the language of an emergency ordinance in order to forward this to a second reading at tonight's meeting. The reason we needed to forward it to a second reading tonight to pass is so that it will be effective July 1st when the new budgets take effect. So that's why we're seeing these, when you throw out the word emergency and rate increases and emergencies and budgets, people think there's no emergency, let's just hold it up. But we have that July 1st deadline that we need on these things. So that's why we have that language in the council bill. That's all.
All right, thank you. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second reading of Council Bill 2429, an emergency ordinance authorizing utility rate changes for electric, water, and wastewater services as requested by the Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board.
Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I believe that the rate increase is in line with still maintaining that Carthage has not the highest, not the lowest, but the median kind of rates in the area. I believe it amounts to about $20 for the average household rate increase per month. So I just wanted to let everyone know what that rate increase looked like. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, if I might add, I
Yes.
did have a citizen approach me and say, well, is it because of raises being proposed and stuff? It has nothing to do with that. This is in compliance, like he said, with the annual.
All right. And Mr. Snow?
I think it actually equates to about 3%, if I remember right, about a 3% increase. So it does have to do just with normal inflation, normal every year, everything goes up. So that's why the rates are increasing.
All right. Anything further? Cast your votes.
Sorry, I let it pass.
Are you a yes? No? It keeps telling me there's an error saving when you close something.
I didn't save anything yet. It was sleeping.
Oh, okay. Have you,
It's not there. It didn't pop up.
are you a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Council bill passes.
The first reading of Council Bill 2430, an emergency ordinance adopting the budget of the City of Carthage, Missouri for the fiscal year 2024-2025 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that we forward Council Bill 2430 to second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to forward Council Bill 2430 to second reading. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second reading of Council Bill 2430, an emergency ordinance adopting the budget of the City of Carthage, Missouri for the fiscal year 2024-2025 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Come on. I was having such good luck earlier with this.
You, yes, Jim.
Yes.
Okay.
Council bill passes.
The first reading of Council Bill 2431, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Sprouse Construction Incorporated for the HH and Garrison Avenue intersection and signal improvements in the amounts of $254,499.43 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
Yeah, Your Honor, I believe this project, this might be the third year that this project has been budgeted, and we're finally getting to a contract point. I'm sure everyone's aware that when we expanded and improved Garrison from the north roundabout to HH, the intent of that expansion was to increase traffic through that Garrison Myers Park area, which is intended or was intended for retail and higher traffic volumes to kind of bypass the Fairlawn or Grand part of that stretch of road. So this traffic signal, I don't remember if, was there a grant?
The study was done, but it is not a grant.
Okay, the state did a study and said, yeah, you need a traffic signal there. And unfortunately, we are looking at, we couldn't move this right now to Chapel Road by the CIC because the state says no. We couldn't move it down to River Street because the state has approved this particular intersection for this stoplight. So that's the reason this traffic signal, it is only a three-way stop, but it will be at that HH Garrison right by Lowe's intersection.
And piggybacking off Mr. Snow's comments there, and Ms. Cox, please correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Terry made a comment about the necessity of it, and you hinted at it there, but in our meeting, I recall Mr. Carney saying that the MoDOT did a traffic study, which found that it was a necessity by the study standards. So if Mr. Terry's still listening, I hope he catches that.
It's not as evident right now, but once the property has all been sold out in that area, so once all of the construction is complete, so this is kind of a pre-plan to all of the traffic that we hope to have out in that area in the future.
All right, anything further? Okay.
The first reading of Council Bill 2432, an ordinance of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a supplemental agreement between the City of Carthage, Missouri and Missouri Department of Transportation for sidewalk improvements, Airport Drive and Fairview Avenue / Route E-571 to River Street and River Street to Pearl Street pursuant to TAP 1601-706 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
So this is a grant that we have got, the Transportation Alternative Program, I believe is what the TAP stands for. We've utilized it for multiple projects. The last project on River Street from Fairview to Airport Drive, that was a TAP grant. I believe some of the other sidewalks on North River Street were part of the TAP grant. So this is part of the state's cost share of this. And so these are very vital, very valuable projects for the city.
Yep. All right, anything further? Move on to mayor's appointments.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Could I ask for a 5-minute recess, please? Thank you.
We'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you all. Okay, so we were on mayor's appointments.
The mayor's reappointment of Sandy Swingle, Nancy Dymont, and Donna Thomason to the library board until July 2027.
Any discussion?
Motion to approve the mayor's appointment to the library board.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the appointments. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to resolutions.
Resolution 2043, a resolution of the City of Carthage, Missouri, establishing regulations regarding the use of excessive force during nonviolent civil rights demonstrations, including physically barring access to a facility or location which is the subject of such demonstration, and providing penalties for violations thereof in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
I just want to reiterate that this resolution is being presented, it is a requirement for the sidewalk improvements for the downtown, and we do have a use of force policy that we sent to them when they asked if we had one. They did not accept that, and that is the only reason that the excessive force resolution is being presented, and it does only apply to the nonviolent civil rights demonstrations.
Mr. Snow.
I move we adopt resolution 2043.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2043. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question,
Sure.
Your Honor. So my only question is why we're doing it as a resolution rather than as an ordinance? Sometimes I'm a little unclear on which we do and why.
I believe the reason we're doing it as a resolution is because in order to apply for the community development block grant, it has to be approved by council, because council doesn't normally approve police procedures and policies. So that's why we have this resolution on the agenda tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Any
Chief,
further?
No, yeah, perfectly
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I didn't speak out.
No, you're fine.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
All right. Anything further? Cast your votes.
May have to refresh your browser there. I lose more as the night goes on. Yes, yes, yes. Tiffany? Yes. Okay.
Resolution stands adopted.
Resolution 2044, a resolution authorizing a supplemental budget adjustment to the Golf Fund and Civic Enhancement Fund for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Mr. Snow?
I move we adopt resolution 2044.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2044. Any discussion? Cast your votes.
Yes.
Resolution stands adopted. That concludes all our business for the evening. Any closing comments, Mr. Barlow?
No, sir.
Ms. Cossey?
Not tonight, Your Honor.
Ms. Graham?
Not tonight.
Mr. Taylor?
Not tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Peterson?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Ms. Leith?
No, thank you.
Nothing
Checkmaster.
tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Edge?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Snow?
You know I have something for tonight, Your Honor. I apologize for missing the last council meeting. I had some very well needed time off, and appreciate everyone taking care of business while I was out of town. I would also like to say I'm looking forward to the 4th of July. I want to thank everyone that's working on the Red, White, and Boom event in the park. I believe there's gonna be some free swimming, there's gonna be free watermelon, free music, free kiddie land. 4th of July is gonna be a big time fun out at Municipal Park. And I may shoot off a few fireworks myself. Also, as we heard, you know, every year we go through the fair requests. I just want to let everyone prepare. Between July 8th and the 14th, it's going to rain sometime in Carthage because it does every year at the fair. So look forward to that. But again, just everybody celebrate 4th of July, celebrate the freedoms that we have, and remember those who have given us those freedoms, the people that have fought and died for our freedoms because they're not free, but they give us the ability and the freedom that we experience and have the privilege of living every day. So thank them for that. And at this time, I make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn?
Second, if we need to.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't think any, and I wouldn't have. I'm just gonna tell you, I wouldn't have.
I'm gonna